This is your in-depth training, how to create Instagram posts that sell your program, your offer, whatever it is you're selling on Instagram, without having to sell your soul in the process. If we haven't met, my name's Ariel. I'm a business and mindset coach, and I'm just going to get straight into it. So let's go. The inspiration came from this idea that I feel like a lot of intuition-led entrepreneurs feel very trapped. So on one hand, you have a bunch of big accounts on Instagram, many of them with like 20,000 followers, telling you, you just need to be more authentic. You just need to unfilter your voice. It will magnetize sales. It will magnetize money. And I do believe a lot of what those accounts have to say, but maybe you're not at the point where you have those 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers yet. And you're also hearing from this other kind of side of the spectrum when it comes to what you'll hear on Instagram, and those, more structured coaches who are saying, my coaching business makes $30,000 a month. I just use this like very concrete messaging framework. You need to be using this to be able to make money. And so as an intuition-led business owner, you're kind of torn between these two different ways of thinking. And you're like, which one is correct? So what I hope this training will do for you is see that you can actually integrate these two ways of thinking. And it's actually quite essential to do this to be able to make that sustainable level of income I know you want and are deserving of with your business. And I decided to create a little framework to talk about why exactly this is. So I'd say there's 4 quadrants that businesses who are selling something on Instagram fall into. And let's quickly speak about these. So the first, I call them the unskilled promoter. So you can see on this axis, this person's very focused on making sales and they're not being strategic about messaging. So, they don't tend to do very well. We actually don't need to worry too much about them. We're going to kind of skip that guy. Next person, though, we do need to focus on the persuasion pro. So you've probably seen a lot of these accounts on Instagram. Their biggest focus is making sales. Like they created their account. They're not here because they want to change the world. They just want something that pays their bills, which is actually totally fine, but they're not so much heart-led with what they're doing. And they are strategic about their messaging. So they're really considering copywriting principles in everything they put out on Instagram. Like their goal is like, how can I create a post that's going to take the stranger on the internet to client as fast as possible? So the thing to know about these guys, they're making pretty big money and they're doing so without a ton of followers. And it's because strategic messaging works. And even if they're not completely heart-led, even if they're not like totally vulnerable and authentic, when you go to their page, it's very clear the problem they are solving. Every single post is designed for converting someone to click their link and to move forward in their sales process. And it is very effective. However, if you are that heart-led, intuition-led business owner like me, and probably like you, if you've found your way to my page in my world, as much as you might know that works, you also might be thinking like, it's just not me. Like I cannot just like, forget that my audience are real people who have real problems and speak to them as though I'm just like trying to, speak to a machine and treat each person like a dollar sign. I want to share like my stories and my life and my content in a way that actually comes from my heart. That's like, it's more than just a business to me. It's like me fulfilling my soul's purpose. So as much as you might know people are making money up here, I'm going to guess you don't necessarily want to play in that corner, which I want to tell you is completely fine. However, let's talk about what else is going on. So the next poster I want to cover here, they are, quite opposite to the persuasion pro. They are extremely heart-led and authentic. They got into business because they felt like they were following their soul's calling. And that's definitely why I'm here today. But also the soul-led poster, they are currently not being strategic about messaging. So that's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but it does mean that rather than kind of being strategic about it and thinking, okay, like what am I trying to sell? What hesitations might my client have? What will help them feel more confident to move forward with, buying from me? They're more so just waking up in the morning and being like, what do I feel like posting? What's on my heart? And the big thing I do want to call out here is that the soul-led poster can be extremely, extremely successful. One of my favorite examples is Victoria. You've probably seen her account, The Daily Victorian. I'm obsessed with her. If you by chance for some reason ever watch this, I love you, girl. Thank you for everything you do. And she started creating, like sharing her poetry while doing really cool yoga poses. And I know when she started this account, she was not being strategic and thinking, oh, how do I monetize this? How do I, create sales with this? She was just sharing her passion. She was just sharing what she loved. And because she shared it in such an unfiltered way, like we said in the beginning, it like magnetized her audience, and she created this gorgeous success for herself. So now she's published a book, and she is creating more than sustainable money for herself. She left her job. I believe she was in law when she started the account. And now she's doing this full time. So it totally can work to be a soul-led poster. But what we also want to call out and acknowledge is that in the real world reality, it is hard to win as a soul-led poster. So I will never say it's not possible. And especially if you have that level of financial security while you're creating the content. So for example, like I said, Victoria was working in law while she was building this account, and she did not leave her law job until she was making sustainable money with her business. It can work. But for every one success story like Victoria's, there are tens of thousands of gifted healers, coaches, creatives, entrepreneurs holding themselves back from the level of income they are capable of, that you're capable of, because they refuse to give up their authenticity for the sake of making sales. And again, I don't blame you. I don't want you to have to give up your authenticity for the sake of making sales. But the thing is, you don't have to. There's a whole other way to play here, a whole other corner. Because listen, your authenticity is your greatest asset. Like the persuasion pros, their close rates, like when they're getting on sales conversations, they tend to not be very high, because even though they follow all the strategies and they've got all the tactics in their book, a lot of people can read energy as well. And they can kind of see, oh, this person's, kind of in it for the money. So they've got to do a much higher volume of activities. Like they've got to pay for ads or do a lot of DMs or take more sales calls in order to make the level of income that they're making. However, for you, your authenticity, it's your greatest asset. Like people can read your energy and they can tell you are in this for the right reasons. You truly want their highest good. When you're being vulnerable on your page, when you're talking about your lived experiences, people can feel you in that and they trust you. And building trust is such an important part of business. So I never want you to believe that you have to give up your authenticity. However, you also need to sell as well, or at least I think you should, because I'm going to say all this. If you right now are playing in that corner of soul-led poster where you're kind of posting whatever you feel like and you're seeing good financial results, you're hitting your revenue goals, you're hitting your business goals, or maybe you just don't care that much about revenue right now, because that's where you're at in your life and business, that's fine. This training is not for you. Okay. If this is not the case, I want you to hear this perspective shift. Okay. So this is your business, and it's not just a passion project. I know it's one of your greatest passions, but it's not just a passion project. And, the key part of business is also having that strategy that makes you money. That's what differentiates just a passion from a business. So what I'm suggesting is that you find the balance between using your account as an outlet for creative expression and doing those posts that just, come from your heart. Because like a lot of magical posts can come from that place. I know when you're just out there walking, not even thinking about your business, and you have that idea, it's almost like the download is coming from the universe. And I do want you to keep sharing that kind of stuff. But in addition, it also makes sense to sit down and plan, maybe 1 or 2 posts a week that are specifically designed for getting sales, that have that more strategic lens so that you can empower yourself financially. And just to be, I used to feel like I don't want to do this because I don't want to be a sellout. This does not make you a sellout. Please know that. Because the real selling out is allowing fear of selling or fear of being annoying or fear of being perceived as money hungry or whatever block you might have. If you let those blocks or fears stop you from making really great money doing work that your soul is here to do, like that's the sellout. That's the biggest shame of all. Especially given that the persuasion pros, as I said here, are out there making bank. And I know they don't care nearly as much about their craft as you do. So I'm really hoping you will take this training and learn how to add the strategy to your heart-centered approach so you can make the money you are deserving of, so that you can advance that next level of income wherever you are at today. So that brings me to my final quadrant here, which is the authentic authority. So the authentic authority is still heart-led and authentic, but they are also strategic about messaging. So this post is really showing, or this training rather, is about showing you how to go from soul-led poster, which is where a lot of people in my world tend to be right now, or maybe you tend to be like here, you're a little strategic, and it's helping you get all the way up to here to the authentic authority, where you are being more strategic, but not losing your authenticity in the process. And it could be worth reflecting because I know there tends to be some resistance that comes up because I'm about to present you actual templates and ways of creating posts that will help you sell in a strategic way. And as like soul-based new earth entrepreneurs, like I know we don't like the idea of feeling restricted. Like having to use a template, it's like, ugh, I don't, I just want to express, I just want to be free. But I do want to encourage you to reflect on these prompts perhaps before you move forward with the training. What's the cost of not adjusting, and how could more consistent sales set you more free? So maybe it does require you to spend, again, like 3-4 hours a week creating a few posts that are more designed to drive revenue rather than just expressing your soul's purpose. However, if you were to do that and then create the additional revenue, how much additional freedom could this create in your life? And is it worth it? Because if you just keep yourself at the current income level, do you have freedom to travel where you want, to invest in the mentors you want to invest in, to buy the organic food, the health products that you want, all the things you'd like in your life? And can you make this little sacrifice of freedom, which is using a couple of templates and tools designed to help you sell strategically so that you can have this bigger sense of freedom in your life in other places? Okay, so the training, this is my little agenda here, step by step to help you go from soul-led poster to authentic authority. Again, I already said this, so that you can create so you can create more sales with your Instagram content without letting go of your authenticity. So most of the training here is designed for actually Instagram posts that go in your feed. And we're going to go into like specifics here. This is a very strategy-based workshop. It's not just mindset. So I'm going to share hooks that you can start using right away that will stop your target audience's scroll so that they actually stop and read your caption. I know you're putting a bunch of genius, brilliant stuff in your caption, but until you find the hooks that make someone stop scrolling, not enough people are reading your genius. There's done for you templates that will give you the exact frameworks to sell your offerings in a way that doesn't feel fake or cringy. I have calls to action that are going to be a lot stronger for you than just saying, there's 3 spots left if you're interested, blah, 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 and there's way more. Okay, before we get into the depth of the training here, I don't really know how long this is going to be, but we're going to go. Your attention is your most valuable asset. It's even more valuable than your time. And so if you want to make the most of this training, I encourage you to close your phone, close other tabs, and really give this your all. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I don't share anything until I deeply understand it and know it can make a big difference for you. So I know if you take this time to really study the materials, it's going to have not only an energetic shift and you're not going to feel better about your business and creating content, but it will also make a financial difference for you if you take what you learn here and you run with it. And I'd pretty much be willing to guarantee that. Next, know that there is a worksheet I created. So all of the prompts and templates I'm sharing here, you can get them inside the worksheet. I'm planning to share this to YouTube. So the link to download the worksheet will be in the description or something like that. So take a look there. The worksheet's a pretty important part of this to be able to take the most from this training and actually utilize it. So highly recommend you maybe even pause right now and download that worksheet before you continue. And then this is one of my first videos on YouTube. I'd appreciate it so much if you can subscribe to my channel while you're here watching. And that's about it. So let's get started. Okay, disclaimers, mindset shifts to make all this work. I'm someone who always thinks about mindset, energy first, and strategy second. So strategic content will not make up for a lack of conviction, especially if you're a heart-led entrepreneur, to be fully honest. The persuasion pros, they might not feel as guilty or bad about trying to sell something they don't fully believe in. And so it doesn't really show in their energy because it doesn't, they don't feel guilty. But I know, again, if you are the heart-led entrepreneur that you probably are watching my training, it's really important for you to feel deeply convicted that like what you're selling is great, that people will be better off by buying your thing. And no amount of like copywriting or strategic messaging is going to make up for a lack of conviction on your part, or say a fear of someone buying into your offer and those types of things. So definitely address those things first before you worry too much about the strategic messaging we'll be covering here. Now, knowing who you're speaking to, going to make this process a lot easier. I know you've seen probably a million pieces of training about how to find your niche. And the reason that kind of rhetoric is repeated over and over is because it works. If you know who your ideal client is, like what their struggles are, what they really want, what they've tried before, having those things sorted out before you complete this training is going to make the whole thing a lot easier. So I'm just going to call that out as well. Next, I also want to acknowledge that if you are like energetically tapped into the belief you so deserve to be well paid for your work, you actually don't need to rely on pre-planned strategy like this as much. I'm never going to call out that like being strategic like this is an absolute essential, because if you are just so energetically in that state of like, of course I deserve to be paid for this work, and like 100%, I have no blocks inside me, I have no resistance to receiving the money, then you actually don't need to be as strategic at all. But what I have found is that the reality is that most of us aren't 100% there. And frameworks can be really helpful as you keep building up that conviction and rewriting old beliefs around money. Frameworks are like a stepping stone to getting you there. Next mindset kind of belief here, or sorry, mindset shift, I want to say. Okay, you created your page for you, and your page is like your own store. A lot of us feel guilty for advertising our services on our page, and I really would like to help you shift your perspective on that. Because again, you made your page for you. Like you're the one who pours hours and hours of your energy and attention into making it a great space for people, sharing content that really helps people, being vulnerable, putting yourself out there. And so if you've invested all of this into the space, you're supposed to use it for yourself. You are allowed to sell in the space. You're actually meant to. That's what allows you to maintain the space without having to charge people to view your content, because you're able to sell. And so remember that, if there's someone who gets annoyed by you selling your offer on your page, and now I'm not going to suggest that you sell it 24/7 in a really in your face, annoying way, but you do need to sell. And if there's someone who's annoyed by the fact that you are selling, maybe they just need to leave your page. Do not accommodate yourself to that person. Again, you're the one who's poured all this energy, and you deserve to use your space as you wish to use it. And then I believe this is my second last one here. I've kind of already addressed this, but it's normal to feel resistance. Again, I'm about to present actual frameworks and things where you pretty much can fill in the blank. And I know a lot of us crave freedom, so we don't like the idea of frameworks. But again, I want to remind you that the more the next level of income you could be earning by being that tad bit more strategic is going to set you free in so many other ways. And your freedom your freedom of expression does not have to be completely limited here, as I'm going to suggest you still use your Instagram page to express what's on your heart. There's going to be a combination of both. And also know that there can always be an upper limit problem at play too. Like resistance doesn't always mean that you're not acting in alignment. Sometimes it literally means that if you start this, you're going to start making way more money. And part of you is uncomfortable with that because you're used to being in struggle. You're like addicted to the idea of, oh, my business is not, it's my biggest problem right now. You're addicted to the mindset of having to work it out and forgetting, or maybe you're not used to the idea that it can actually just be easy. You can actually just create 3 posts a week that do exactly what's needed to bring in those new clients, bring in consistent revenue at the level you're calling in. And it's allowed to feel easeful and is allowed to feel flowy. Okay, so last big thing to say here. The goal here is integration. Like in a perfect world, you don't just want to share like heart-led authentic content and then strategic messaging content, like as 2 separate posts. In the ideal world, you'd find like the perfect combination of those 2 things. But that integration is easier said than done, and it can kill your creativity at first. because, and you've probably had this experience before, where you're just trying to share like a heart-centered post. You had this like brilliant idea while you were working out or walking, and then you start to have all these like things in your head of like, wait, what about the proper hook? Or I saw this framework from this guy that told me I have to post this way. And it's almost like stealing your genius, because rather than just sharing what's on your heart, you're having to follow all these rules. So what I highly recommend is something that you probably haven't seen before, but is a 50-50 approach. So, and then over time, it might actually change. But in the beginning, for half of your posts, stick with what you're already doing as like a soul-led poster. So don't use my templates, and just literally speak from your heart. Post whatever you want to post, whatever feels good for you. Block out all the noise about what's strategic, what you're supposed to say. Say what you want to say. Do it the way you want to do it. This is where a ton of magic comes from. I will never tell you to stop posting in this way. But then at the same time, the other half of the post, use the model and frameworks I'm about to teach you. And of course, still speak from your heart, still be authentic, still stay true to yourself, your ethics, everything you believe in, but do it within the parameters of the framework. So it's this 50-50 play. So your posting schedule might look like this: heart-centered post, just whatever you feel like posting, and then a post using my framework. Heart-centered post, a post using my framework. I recommend you do it like this to start. And then over time, as I wrote here, the intention is that these post types almost start to blend together, because as you're using the framework I'm about to share, you just start to think differently about creating content. You start to create new neural pathways in your brain that help you to naturally be strategic without having to force it. And then eventually your heart-centered posts, they just naturally incorporate a sense of strategy as well. So there's not as much of a need to use the framework moving forward. Okay, that should be everything. So now we're going to get into the more nitty-gritty strategic stuff. I need you guys to put on your red creator hat every time you're creating content. I know this is very corny, but it will help you remember something. I think out of the whole training, if you just take this, it's going to change the way you post on Instagram. So RED is an acronym that stands for Ready Buyer, Everyday Language, Draw Them In. I want to quickly speak to all of these. First, Ready Buyer. And this might be the most important. So often with our content, we're in this like convincing energy. Like we're thinking about someone who like doesn't quite have the money and they have all these reasons they don't want to work with us. And we're like pulling them in. We're like, please listen to me. Consider my program. Whereas being on that energetic level, like being at that frequency is going to make you call in that person who's like super doubtful, who doesn't have the money. Whereas if you envision the person who's a ready buyer, and a ready buyer is someone who was ready to buy your program yesterday. They have been praying for a solution to the exact thing that you offer. And I guarantee you, those people are out there. They are already in your audience. But the problem is often that we don't speak to that person. We're convincing the one who's super far from wanting to buy our program. And everything with your content shifts when you start to use language that's speaking directly to the ready buyer, the person who they're ready to move forward. They're not concerned about the investment. They want this problem solved. And so energetically tap into them and speak to them and notice how your content will shift. Okay, everyday language. Okay, this is also super important. We have this big tendency to just use like fairy language. I like fairies, but like language that is not down to earth. You want to use language in your Instagram content, especially with the strategic stuff. So again, with your heart-led posts, do them however you like. But for at least any content that's using my model, try to think about the language that your client is using, like when they wake up in the morning or when they're like chatting with their friend at a coffee shop. And how would they speak about their problems? Like, for example, I don't wake up in the morning, and I'm into spirituality and stuff, but I don't wake up in the morning and think like, oh, I just want to clear my energetic blocks. Like that's not the first thing I think. I think, oh, I really need to get my shit together. That's the everyday language I'm using. And we want to create posts and content that speak in everyday language, because that's what's going to draw your person in and be like, oh my gosh, like they get me, they understand what I actually want. And they're more likely to hire you in that way. And then lastly, I kind of already spoke to this, but draw them in. And drawing them in has a lot to do with using a hook. No matter how brilliant your caption is, no matter how brilliant your carousel post is, whatever it is that you're sharing, if you are not first drawing somebody in, making them curious, being like, ooh, I got to keep reading this. And ideally, you're not just drawing anyone and you're drawing in your ideal client because you're thinking about inside their head, what are their worries, what are their wants, what are their desires. Having something that makes them stop their scroll, lean in and go, I got to keep reading this is very, very important. I always tell my clients, like, don't spend 50 minutes writing this great caption and then just throw on the first hook that comes to mind. It's worthwhile to come up with a hook or something on the screen that will make your ideal person stop and want to read. It's actually the most important part of your entire post. So always keep in mind RED, put on your red content hat or creator hat when you're going to create content with this model. Okay, the framework. So the framework I've created here is called the ARI-ADA model. If you've heard of ADA before, it's because it's like a very well-known foundational marketing tool. I just grabbed a screenshot from somewhere on Google. And it's basically an advertising model that identifies the stages an individual goes through during the process of purchasing a product or service. I used a very common framework just because there's no need to invent the wheel. No need to reinvent the wheel. Wow, I'm losing my words. ADA works. It's been proven to work, which is why I just kept this very simple model. And basically how I've set it up is that I've created these 4 types of posts. So as it said on the last page, like A stands for attention, I stands for interest, D stands for desire, A stands for action. And there's types of posts designed to create each of those things so that someone can move from stranger on the internet who like just finds your Instagram page to actually DMing you and wanting to work with you. That's what these posts are designed to do. And I think it's also really important to call out that like this framework is not like some brand new genius concept. And every business coach and any coach ever who is selling like a framework or a methodology, like frameworks or methodologies aren't really these like special secret things. They're just a way of organizing information. And they're powerful because they organize information in a way that makes it very easy for you to implement. So like by all means, this is not the only way to create content that sells on Instagram. But what I have done is taken courses from like experts in the space. So I've taken paid messaging courses from multiple business owners who are making more than $1 million with their businesses. So I know they know a thing or two about copywriting. And I have taken some of my best skills. One of those is like learning and summarizing information. That's why I was like a perfect GPA student when I was in high school and university. And I have condensed everything I've learned from others, also just from watching my own Instagram page, paying a lot of attention to like what draws me in. And I've taken all this information that was all over the place and I've organized it into a really condensed framework so that it makes it really easy for you to implement. But it's not by any means like the only way. And I always want to call that out. Okay, so the actual framework itself, I'm doing good on time right now. So framework, again, is built out of these 4 types of posts. Attention posts are meant to make your person think, I know who they are and what they stand for. So in order to stand out, you've got to be bold here. You've got to say some bold things because just simple, instructional posts or, tips to do this, it's not enough nowadays to get people to stop their scroll. We've got to get people to, lean in and think, wow, this person has a really interesting take and I want to learn more about, what they do. And I really like their values and I want to follow this person because I'm aligned with them. I like the movement they're here to lead. This is very important. Next type of post, interest posts. These are designed to make your audience say, they get me. They know their stuff. So again, they're trying to make these posts are designed so that someone feels like you understand them. And also for them to see you as an authority, to show off your knowledge and your expertise. A lot of my clients, people I work with, tend to kind of do these posts. Like you might already have this covered, and this training will help you just do them in an even stronger way. However, your account, not everyone, but many, it might look like this. It's like, educational post, inspiring post, educational post, inspiring post. Because we're actually missing the whole bottom of the ADA framework for a lot of us solo-led entrepreneurs. So that leads me to talking about the third type of post that was meant to be the little lead-in, which are desire posts. So desire posts are designed to make someone think, I need the thing they offer in my life. I've got to buy it. I've got to have it. This will solve my problem. I want to hire them. That's what these posts are designed to do. We're often missing these kinds of posts. And this training is going to show you exactly how to integrate these back into your Instagram feed. And then lastly, we have action posts, which are designed to make someone who's like right there, who's already has the desire, like, I think I need the thing they offer, to going, heck, I'm doing this right now. I'm DMing them. I'm going to click the link and buy the thing on their website, whatever action you want someone to take. These posts are designed to get them to actually move. So these desire posts, action posts are going to be a huge game changer for you if your feed currently looks like this. And the idea is to get your feed as a business looking a bit more like this. So it's like we still have the educational post and the inspiring post, but then we're going to throw in some other posts, like maybe one about the benefits of your program, one that has FAQs about your program, one that handles common objections, one that is a huge belief shifter for people. And it's showing your genius and it's making them go, wow, I like them. I like what they stand for. Something about your client transformations. And then maybe another inspiring post. And then a post about reasons to take action now. So you see the difference in the feed, right? And again, we're going to do all this in a way that still feels authentic and true to you. And as you become more successful, you gain more followers, there's more demand for your services. Like as you grow, you can actually get away with doing less of this. I'm not saying your Instagram page is forever meant to just be about selling your service. I know you're a multidimensional person who has a lot of things to share, but let's get you financially empowered through your business first, and then you can start to diversify what you're sharing and integrate. Okay, so now we're going to go into the specific kinds of posts and how to create these. So we talked about attention posts. They're meant to make you stand out. Biggest key here, polarity. I put the magnet for a very good reason. In order to attract people to your page, you have got to be willing to repel others. I wrote this and I think it's super true. Your capacity to be disliked, judged, misunderstood, it's directly proportional to your capacity for leadership, growth, and success. And I say this with a lot of confidence as someone who is absolutely petrified of having people be mad at me or misunderstand me. So this is not the easiest thing to do, but remembering this is what helps me show up anyway. It's like, I know I'm meant to live a big, bold life and create really big change in the world. And I've got to grow my capacity for these things because I know I'm here to be a leader. And I know you're meant to be a leader too. So we've really got to get clear on some polarizing beliefs that we do strongly stand for that are going to help us stand out amongst the sea of content that is currently overwhelming people. And these should be things that are controversial, emotionally charged, bold, unexpected, shocking. And before you even go about creating your awareness posts, I am going to share some prompts and some templates with you. But before you create these posts, it can be really helpful to get clear on what are like the 3 to 5 polarizing beliefs that you stand for with your personal brand. And having these be consistent is actually quite important as well, because people will get to know you for certain things and they'll start to know your brand for certain things. To give you a more concrete example, and I'm actually going to share examples throughout this entire presentation, but a couple of mine I'm putting on here. So first, entrepreneurship is pretty hard. And I hate the fact that so many business coaches make it seem like, oh yeah, just follow the 6-step methodology and then you'll be making $30,000 a month. That is bullshit. It's really leading people to have a messed up idea of how hard it is as an entrepreneur to show up consistently, to find the right strategy, and keep showing up when there's like so much uncertainty to eventually get to that place. Like they're skipping so many steps. And this kind of messaging is also leading a lot of people thinking like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not succeeding when all these other people are making bank online? And they are really, I believe, painting a picture that's very unrealistic so that they can sell their programs. I want to stand to the opposite approach. I'm going to stand on my page and say, no, entrepreneurship is hard. If you want to hire me because you think you're going to easily just get to 30K a month with no effort, or more importantly, like emotional stress, then probably don't, because I don't think it's possible. I think we want to aim for that. Like, obviously our goal is to like remove our sense of resistance. I'm a huge believer in the law of assumption, that if you just know with all your energy that like you will be successful, the clients you're calling in will come, it absolutely creates results. I'm a believer in spirituality and the energy of all this. But I also acknowledge that like there are breakdowns on the kitchen floor that come along with being an entrepreneur. And I want to be very upfront about that. Next, structure and not just more flow is how you unleash your creativity and create momentum as an entrepreneur. Um, Again, I'm standing up against those people who are just like, oh, you just need to trust more. You just need to magnetize more. Like, yes, but for a lot of entrepreneurs who were already in their feminine energy, which is like a lot of embodiment coaches, a lot of empaths who, you already have a lot of natural creativity, a lot of natural magic inside of you. And the restraint is actually not that you need to be more of that. It's that you need a container for all of that creativity to flow within. So very different, again, than the views you're often seeing in the online business space. But I strongly believe that when you take the creativity you naturally have and you give it a container, that's how you create like the riverbanks that allows the river to flow and create momentum with your business. And then my last belief here, your biggest block is not strategy. Everyone's going to try to convince you that, you just need their framework, their thing. But, your block is that you're lacking self-trust, you're terrified of making mistakes, and that you are not prioritizing energy management. Because you and I both know that when you are energetically aligned, when you are feeling good, when you are in self-trust, genius can flow out of you. It's easy for you to take consistent action. So I will, again, stand on this belief until someone changes my mind. But I strongly believe that, 95% of business problems are not strategic problems. They are self-trust, energy management problems. Also want to share some of the polarizing beliefs for some of my clients. This is Jana. Oh my gosh, she is such an incredible woman. She has so many qualifications. I don't even know exactly how to describe her. But her business, she helps women who are planning to be pregnant or have just gotten pregnant. But anyone who's planning to be pregnant in the next 2 or so years, she helps you prepare your body, balance your hormones, and most importantly, get your sleep schedule on track using ancient Ayurvedic medicine, Kundalini yoga, the Chinese medicine clock. I'm going to do a disservice to the incredible work that she does because she knows it much better than I do. But she basically helps you as the mama get your health completely optimized so that you can have a relaxing, smooth pregnancy, a great birth experience, and then go into motherhood actually feeling energized. And she's like the living, breathing, walking testament to this because she was energized her whole motherhood because she had these practices in place before she got pregnant. So she's helping other women do the same. A couple of her polarizing beliefs. The most important way to look after your child is actually looking after yourself. If you want to put your child first, you actually got to put yourself first. Again, that's very different than what a lot of the industry or what a lot of people will tell you. Next, pregnancy is not meant to be painful, and motherhood isn't supposed to feel exhausting. Again, this challenges a lot of rhetoric out there that's kind of like, oh yeah, you just got to suck it up. You're going to be exhausted. She's living, breathing proof that you don't have to feel exhausted all the time. And a big part of her mission is helping moms feel energized and feel supported and feel that juiciness of life as they transition into motherhood. And then lastly, we can change the world by raising our children in a way where our kids don't have to heal from their childhood. And that's her greatest mission. And I do feel like that's a statement that really sets her apart. Her ideal clients are going to go, holy shit, I align with this and I want to learn more from this woman. Also wanted to give some examples from my gorgeous client, Marissa. Again, she's so many things. She's an intuitive coach, and she has incredible spiritual abilities. She can speak not only with her own guides, but also with your guides. She's a certified Reiki healer. So she has like a ton of like spiritual abilities to help you connect, but then also she's incredibly grounded. And she knows what it's like to like work a shitty job and not feel aligned. And she is so courageous. She's taken so many steps to build her own dream life, and she's helping her clients do the same. A couple of her standout points here to give you some more examples of polarizing beliefs. The universe is not coming to save you. You also need to take action. Very different than a lot of the industry. That's kind of like, you just need to get your frequency to the right level and like you're just not manifesting hard enough. She's calling bullshit on some of that. And like, as she understands how energy works. She is an energy worker, yet she knows it is not enough just to be in the frequency. You also have to learn how to actually set boundaries at work or actually start eating foods that are taking care of your body. She knows there's a multidimensional approach here that's needed, and she's calling out the bullshit in the industry. I'm not sure if she would say it as harshly as I am, but this is my opinion. I'm speaking from my own beliefs, but she's calling people out and saying, you can't just receive a card reading or a psychic reading and then throw your hands up and expect the universe to take care of everything. You've got to take action too. And then second, if you don't make time for wellness, you'll be forced to make time for sickness. Again, a standout belief that's going to make her ideal client lean in and go, oh, that's a big wake-up call. It's true, especially if she's talking about this over and over on her page in different ways. So again, before you move forward with creating awareness content for your page, you should first get clear on what are your 3 to 5 polarizing beliefs. What are some things that you stand by to your core that are kind of like that foundational piece to your brand that, again, are like, it's so key to standing out. If you don't stand for anything, you stand for nothing, or you'll fall for anything, however that quote goes. Like, people have got to know you for something more than just like 3 tips to solve this problem. And this is really what's going to get someone's attention, make them stop their scroll, make them click follow, make them start paying attention to you. These posts are absolutely necessary to achieve those things. If you're my client, please send me your answers. And inside the worksheet I previously mentioned that you can download in the YouTube description, I also included these prompts. You can also pause the YouTube video. These can help you get clear on your polarizing beliefs if you do not know what they are. Sorry, I'm going to continue. I thought there was something else here. Okay. And yeah, so once you've got those, now it's time to actually figure out, how do we create these awareness posts? So a lot of the interest, desire, action posts, the next couple posts, I'm going to be sharing like more preset templates, like literally plug and play, use these words, fill in the blanks, and you can create these posts. But the attention posts, they're actually best shared just like in the format that works for you. Like the biggest thing, share your bold truth unapologetically, exactly what I wrote here. So however you want to share like these foundational messages that you stand by, whether it's talking to the camera, whether it's a carousel post, whatever feels good to you and your body is probably the right way. I did want to share a couple of prompts though, just to give you some inspiration. So you'll see those here, just like the first one. Most people think, call out the common belief in your industry or your field, but the truth is your bold take. So calling something out. These are all in the worksheet as well if you need access to them. Direct example here of using that first prompt. Of course, you want to change it a bit to fit this unique situation. So it's not like I copied it word for word, but you get the idea. So for Jana, women are not supposed to feel like exhausted, depleted shells of themselves after birth. Postpartum depletion is not a requirement. Here's what's really going wrong. And this is a hook that she could have, say, on the screen during a reel, and then the caption, she's going to explain more about it and more about her reasoning. But again, this is really going to make someone lean in and go, oh, like she stands by this. The whole point of these posts. So inside my worksheet, I also included a ChatGPT prompt that will help you brainstorm your own post for all the styles, actually. So brainstorm your own posts and help you with some of the structuring. I will never, ever recommend that you just take captions from ChatGPT. You always should write with your own language because people can sense when it was written by ChatGPT. Like the language is just not as, like it's natural, but it's just like, it's lacking personality. I think that's the best way I can put it. So use ChatGPT for inspiration, for helping you with hooks, for figuring out the structure of your content, but then actually write the content yourself. But anyway, there is a really solid, helpful prompt inside the worksheet that can help you with the brainstorming and the structure part. Okay, we're moving on along. The next type of post, the I in ADA stands for interest. Again, these posts are meant for people to find you and think, wow, they get me and they know their stuff. So the biggest key for interest posts, don't stay surface level. Show your genius. I know you are damn brilliant at what you do, and I know your Instagram page is only showing a fraction of that genius in your content. So like we want to start showing way more of that in your content. So be insightful, you know, show your lived experience, show your unique expertise. Don't just give, 3 tips for this that someone could Google. Give nuance, give stories, give examples, share your genius. And I have a couple of prompts to give you the idea for interest posts. Again, a lot of you are probably already creating interest posts on your page, like posts that show off your expertise a bit, or maybe even show that you understand your target audience a bit. And it might just be packaging it up a little differently so that you're getting more attention with these posts, like stronger hooks that make people lean in, or just how you're presenting the information could alter a little bit so that you're really presenting yourself as that authority figure. So with Jana as an example here, instead of, just here's 4 tips to improve hormonal acne and PCOS, which is an okay hook, consider this. If you're struggling with hormonal acne or PCOS, here's the truth about healing that nobody told me. And ask yourself, like, which post, especially if you're struggling with these things, would make you more likely to stop your scroll and lean in. And then ask yourself how you can transform your own hooks from this to this style. And you can very much use this exact template to share something that you have personal experience with. Marissa, let's take another example. So rather than just, here's 4 tips to clear your energetic blocks, she could try something like this. If you've been stuck in a job you hate for more than 2 years, here's 4 things you're doing that are keeping you stuck. And she could have like pretty much the exact same caption. Like she can still talk about 4 common energetic blocks that are keeping someone stuck in the job. But now, instead of, again, so many people will just kind of scroll past this, like it doesn't really draw anyone in. But this is like doing a great job of using the red creator hat, because she is like using everyday language to the max. Like no one is waking up in the morning and being like, oh, I just want to clear my energetic blocks. They are waking up and being like, oh my gosh, why am I still stuck in this damn job? So again, using language that your audience is already, or your target audience, like your ideal client is already using, and putting a hook there in a way that's making someone lean in and think, ooh, I've got to read more about this. Like what's the deal? What's she going to talk about? So you could use, again, this exact same prompt to create your own interest post. And all of these, again, are in my worksheet that you can download. So next, I'm really excited to present these. I've created a bunch of almost done for you templates that will allow you to share interest posts, desire posts, action posts. Again, I'm providing that structure for your creativity to flow within. So I've named them all and they're all inside the worksheet. This one's called Explaining the Real Root of the Problem template. And so I'm going to give you examples from, again, my incredible clients, so that you can get a feel for how these templates work and how you could adjust them for you. So the hook for this template, if you're struggling with pain point, it's not because your client's current belief. Here's what's really going on. So if I wanted to use this for Marissa, it might be something like this. If you're constantly exhausted and on the edge of burnout, it's not because you need to stop the late night TikTok scrolling. Here's what's really going on. And think about how much that's going to like draw in her target audience. Because like they're probably tired of blaming themselves for their late night TikTok scrolling. And again, you're being like very real world language, like talking, it's not just like, here's how to be empowered, aligned. It's like we're talking to them and they're going to want to stop and read what's going on, because they also are struggling with being exhausted and burnt out. So in this caption, we're going to start by going right now and then describing their pain, again, really important, in their own words. So for Marissa here, it might be like this. Right now, it feels like you're recycling the same day over and over again. You go into the office that you really don't want to be at. You try to prepare healthy meals throughout the day. You try to keep your health tidy. Maybe you make it to your 7 p.m. Pilates class if you're lucky. But overall, you feel exhausted. And you're complete, like, aside from those, sorry, I'm kind of riffing this and I kind of have some notes. Aside from those rare moments you're grabbing a drink with friends, you've completely lost your spark. So again, we're really trying to get into the routine, the mind of your ideal client. And just to be super clear, we are not doing this ever to manipulate someone. And you should only do this from the intention of wanting to help somebody. And because you really do believe you can help this person. And if you don't stand by those things, I hope that you just turn off this training. But assuming that you do, and I bet you do, then continue. Okay. So it feels like, and then the next part of your caption or your carousel, or however you're presenting this, is about acknowledging and validating someone's current belief or pain. So for Marissa, it might sound something like, it might feel like you just need to be tougher on yourself so that you can build healthier habits and finally stop feeling so shitty. You're probably being hard on yourself for scrolling TikTok before bed instead of doing an evening meditation like you should be. So we're really, again, validating someone. We're not making them feel small. We are showing them that we care. Wasn't supposed to show that yet. However, the truth is, and we basically want to show someone why their belief is keeping them stuck in the pain that we previously mentioned and explain why. So with the Marissa example again, telling yourself that you need to just be harder on yourself is making you feel worse, which they'll get because it does just create shame, right? And the real way to create a shift in your life is to welcome back some joy into your life. So now we've just presented a whole new belief. Now it's about explaining, why is this new belief better? Why is it going to create better results for somebody? So it might be something like, when you start adding little bits to your day that are there just for fun and not just to be productive or get things done, or just trying to keep everyone in your life happy, you are going to have so much more energy naturally, because the problem was never that you weren't sleeping enough. It's that you don't have enough joy in your day to day. And when you find those moments of joy, you'll naturally be more energized. You'll actually be more easily able to stick to those good habits that you need to stick to, such as not scrolling TikTok at night. So you can see how this whole post is really changing someone's belief in a really powerful way. And you can use, again, this exact same template. And you can use this multiple times. You could use this template 10 times on 10 different beliefs that you want to help someone shift. And this content is valuable to someone who wants to buy your program or to someone who could benefit from your lived experience and from your learning. So it's helpful in multiple ways. And then lastly, there's some kind of call to action at the end. If this is something you're working through right now, send me a message. Let's work it out together. So objective of this post, which I hope you feel we've achieved here, is making your target audience think, she gets me and she really knows her stuff. We're presenting her expertise, and we're also making that person feel understood and helping them build that sense of trust that you're the right person that can help them. So here's another example template I put together for you guys. And I'm going to use Jenna as the example this time. So hook. The biggest mistake I see people making with whatever your ideal client's trying to achieve, and what to do instead. So in the case of Jana, it might be the biggest mistake I see people making when they're trying to fix their hormones before pregnancy and what to do instead. And then again, it's the same idea as I did for you guys before. It's you can use this exact formatting to present your ideas in a really nuanced, creative way. So work within the template to share your greatest genius and your heartfelt message that you want your audience to receive. So the template goes like this. For a long time, and then you tell us about the mistake that your target audience is currently making, that you probably used to make too, in a relatable, empowering way. So we never want to talk down to our ideal client. We don't need to put ourselves on a pedestal above them. We just are going to support them. We're all just taking each other home at the end of the day. That's how I feel about life. So Jana's might go something like this. For a long time, I thought I was doing everything right for my health. I was committed to my daily yoga practice. I spent hours in nature, and I was even following Ayurvedic rituals every morning. So it doesn't sound like a mistake as well. So it's going to make someone lean in even more, right? But because of this, and then talk about the consequences of the mistake they're making or the thing they're missing, and then the pain that that's creating in somebody's life. So again, you have to adapt these templates a little bit, but it's inspired by this. So for Jana's, I wrote as a bit of a example that follows the same idea. But despite all of this, my hormones were still completely out of whack. My cycle was irregular, and every time I looked in the mirror, the adult acne staring back at me made me feel so frustrated. So because she's missing something in this routine, she's dealing with these consequences. So again, your ideal client's leaning in and going, oh my gosh, she like understands what I'm doing right now. She understands the pain I'm still suffering with. I trust this girl to give me the solution because she sure as heck understands my problem. Then the next part of the template. This finally changed when I realized, so in this moment, you're going to call it what's wrong and the way they need to be seeing things to be able to create the change they want to create in their life. In Jana's example, it might be, this finally changed when I realized I could do all the healing practices in the world, but nothing could replace the most restorative thing my body needed most of all, high quality sleep. So again, a belief shifter for people. And then what happened when you change this belief in your life? So this shift allowed me to, and you're talking about like the benefits, and these should directly address things that your ideal client wants in their life. So again, they're starting to like build that desire in their hearts. Are like, oh, I think like Jana knows how to create the thing I want because she's created it for herself. And in the example, it's like when I started following the Chinese medicine clock, which is, again, I can't speak to these things as brilliantly as my client Jana can, but she started to basically use these clocks to determine the time she was waking up, the time she was eating, when she was stopping screen time. So when she started doing all that, she might say, my skin started glowing, my cycle finally became consistent, and I finally felt like my most radiant self. My hormones felt completely optimized to give birth or get pregnant. And so then we end with a call to action as always. So maybe Jana's is something like, it's time to stop overlooking sleep too. That's why I created a free guide to show you exactly how to do this. DM me Word, I'll send it over. Something like that, right? Again, I certainly feel this, and I hope you do too. If I read this and I was someone who was struggling with my hormones, who was trying yoga and trying Ayurvedic principles, but I was missing the sleep component, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like she gets me, she knows what's wrong. I trust her to also be able to help me, or just like I see her as an authority in this space, which is the most important part of these interest posts. So once again, there's a ChatGPT prompt available inside the worksheet if you'd like some support using these templates with your own ideal client avatar. All right, we are moving into the third type of post you'll be creating with the Ari-Ada model, and these are desire posts. This is likely a huge component of what you might be missing and can be a huge, huge differentiator in taking you from someone who has an audience who's like engaged, who likes a lot of what you post and they're inspired by what you do, to actually saying, oh my gosh, I want to hire this woman, or I want to hire this guy, and please, sign me up, take my credit card. These posts are very important for this. So again, desire posts are making someone think I need the thing they offer in my life. And the biggest key here is like to actually talk about your solution. A lot of us are just not doing nearly enough of this. And it's not that complicated. It's just like we're constantly telling stories or creating inspiration, but rarely are we just telling people like, here's my coaching, here's how it works, here's the benefits you've received from it. And that's the big thing we're going to do with adding these desired posts onto our Instagram feed. So it's important to have these things inside your desired posts. So first of all, you want to talk about your unique methodology, how you get people from your A to the B, how you help them achieve the transformation that they receive. I guess not everyone who's watching this might be a service-based business, but many of you might be. And if you're thinking, oh, I don't have a unique methodology, like, yes, you do. If you serve clients, yes, you do. You just perhaps have not called it something yet. But whatever process you're using, maybe it's just coaching calls and journal prompts and it's simple like that. It's still a process. So call it something so that people can know that like you have a process for taking people on the journey they want to go on. Next, you definitely need to show some transformations. Like people like to have the, we have the emotional decision-making part of our brain, but we also like to back that up with like tangible, intellectual, logical proof that like this person can help me and they know what they're doing. And showing transformations that you've helped other people achieve, and if you don't have other clients yet, like at least showing the transformation that you've achieved, showing like they started here, my client started here, we worked on these things, and here's where they got. That's a very important thing for building that desire in somebody for wanting to work with you. Next, talking about results someone's going to get by working with you. Like, what outcomes are they going to have in their life? We can't skip this. Again, maybe the soul-led posters can skip this and they're going to find unique ways of making income. But if we want to be the authentic authority, it's also important to have this level of strategy where we're showing someone like, these are the things you can achieve by working with me, and these are the reasons you should hire me. And it's not manipulative. It's truly just showing the transformations you can offer. And I will never encourage you to like lie or to like exaggerate to an extent that's not true. But again, I know you're gifted and you need to give yourself some credit and look at the transformations you've already helped people achieve and then just talk about them. And then lastly, the easiest way to also create desire is just simply to be embodied in the transformation you've created in your own life. Again, I have some very specific templates here, and I hope these are super helpful for you. They're all available in the worksheet, but let's go through some of them. So these are, again, rather than just telling you like you need to create desired posts, now go do them. These are the actual ways to create desired posts. So for using Marissa as an example, here's the straight to the results template. You've decided now is the moment things change. You're going to, and you start saying like the things that your client wants to be doing. So for Marissa, it's like, you're no longer waiting for the universe to deliver the partnership you've been manifesting to your doorstep. You're going to do what it takes to get out of the job that's been feeling misaligned. Like stating things that they want, and like outcomes they want to achieve or actions they want to be taking. You're going to, and again, just speaking to more outcomes, it's like you're going to find a job that like feels aligned. You're going to start integrating healthy habits into your life that make you feel joyful and good. And you are going to start going on regular dates until you find that aligned soulmate that you've been energetically manifesting, but haven't been taking the action to go get. So it's like making your person go, yes, I want this. I want this. I want this. And then we transition this. Here's how we're going to do it together inside the Empowered Lotus program. Just to be clear, I'm not positive Marissa's program is called this. I'm just going to call it that for the duration of this training. Her and I were just wrapping up her offer, her next offer. It's absolutely incredible. You should check it out. And then we're going to like literally talk about the offer though inside this template. So when you jump in, I'll send you, what's the first thing you send when someone jumps to your offer? And we'll get ready for X weeks of work. So with Marissa, the first thing she sends is like an intake form. And the coolest part is like this block inventory, which basically helps you and her start to get to the root of like the energetic, emotional, and also physical blocks in your life that are keeping you stuck repeating cycles. So she might say like, when you jump in, I'll send you a block inventory so that we can get to the root of like what's been keeping you stuck. And then we'll start getting ready for 12 weeks of loving accountability and work. Over this time, and then you're going to actually describe your process. Again, like so many of us are missing this stuff on our Instagram page. We're like giving beautiful, inspiring posts of us by the sunset, but we're not telling them like, here's how I actually help you. Like, here are the actual nitty gritty steps I'm going to take you through. So Marissa is going to say something like, then we're going to go through my, sorry, I have to remember the name of her process as I'm doing this. The root, release, rise process, where we're using Reiki healing, Reiki energy healing, and intuitive coaching, and Reiki infused meditations and intuitive oracle card readings to help you get to the root of these blocks, clearing them. She does, for example, like a cord cutting ceremony and other things to help you clear those blocks energetically, also clearing the actual physical clutter in your life, like old clothes or all this inbox of unread emails, to help you like step into that version of you who's finally taking control of her life. So she could talk a lot more about this, but again, like using a post like this of like, here are the results you want. Here's how we're getting there. Message me and let's do this. We need to have some posts like this integrated onto our feed. Again, not your entire Instagram feed, but like in the ADA process, like some need to look like this, just to show people like, here's what you get when you actually hire me. We can't assume that they know. They don't know. They want to know. And the idea with these posts, I need the thing she offers. That's what we want someone to think once they've moved forward. Another template for you here. This is called the My Way Will Get You There Faster template. And again, I haven't fully worked through these examples. I'm kind of riffing, but like for Jana's client, she might use this template something like, maybe we're going to talk about like the woman who's already trying to prepare for a healthy pregnancy, but she's missing something key. So it's like, right now you're switching to organic foods and you've been serious about the Pilates routine so that you can build your core strength, or like you're doing Kegel exercises now because you know you're going to get pregnant soon, or you want to get pregnant soon. You're probably, and we're going to talk about part of the desired result that they've already gotten. So you're probably feeling healthier and stronger and starting to feel more ready for conception. But I know you want, so that's part of the result that somebody offers. But we also want to call it like the full-blown result that Jana can create for somebody. So she might say like, but I know you want to feel like your absolute most energized self. You know that pregnancy takes a lot from your body and you want to like be in absolute optimal health and energy, so that this can be a super smooth pregnancy for you and you can have a really great journey into motherhood. So what you're missing is, and again, what Jana has so much expertise. I think she helps people in so many different ways, but she might call it like, what you're missing is integrating an Ayurvedic and Kundalini ritual into your morning so that you can start to prepare your womb for conscious conception, and also balance your hormones in the most optimized way, and like work on your sleep schedule. Again, I can't speak to all this perfectly, but she's going to talk about like the things they're missing outside of just like eating organic food and doing Kegel exercises. And then inside my, say, Juicy Mama program, we tackle this and then you talk about like what your process is again that gets somebody the full-blown result. So this post or this template, all these templates, they're kind of similar. You could like alternate from one to the other, so you don't have to always use the exact same thing. But again, we're giving you that opportunity to actually talk about like what exactly you do, what exactly you offer. When someone hires you, what process do we take them through and how does it help them get the transformation they're wanting? This is really key for creating desire in your posts. And then again, we make sure, so what's a common mistake that somebody might make doesn't happen, so that you can, and again, speaking about desired result they're going to achieve by hiring you. Let's set you up, and like maybe this, and if I'm speaking in Jana's again, like let's set you up for a radiant pregnancy. Click the link in my bio and we'll create a custom plan to balance your hormones, make sure you have radiant skin and an easy, joy-filled conception, birth, pregnancy experience, something like that. And again, hopefully the idea here is that someone reads this post and thinks, oh my gosh, I need the thing she offers. Going into a third template for desire posts. And I also feel called to do a quick little note here that these desire posts, they might not get like maximum engagement or likes. And that's definitely not the goal with all your content on Instagram. It's like the person who's thinking about buying your program, they're the one who's going to like consume every detail of these posts. And it's going to help them go on that journey of like, oh my gosh, I think I want to work with this person. And it helps them build that desire up in their heart to want to work with you. So the goal of these posts is not maximum engagement. That could be maybe the attention posts or just like your heart-led posts. Maybe those ones you're hoping to get some more engagement. And these ones are more so designed just, again, to talk about your program, to talk about your offering, which we do have to do as business owners because this is not just a passion project, this is a business. Okay, I'm the person to help you do this template. So as the title states, this template's more so talking about you and why someone should hire you. And I'll use Marissa as an example here. So if there's one thing you should know about me before you hire me, it's that, and then add something about you. So if this was Marissa, maybe she's going to say, it's that, yes, I'm clairvoyant, have psychic abilities, and I also have a bachelor in psychology. Yes, and then maybe she's going to talk about, I'm a certified Reiki healer and am very like connected to the point where I can often connect with my own guides and also your guides. So part of this, it is bragging a little bit, and that's okay. Again, your Instagram page is your own store, and you have to brag. Like you're here because you want to help change the world and you want to help people change their lives. And to do so, you've got to help them build trust in you and show them that you're certified and you're qualified to help them. So this is a great way to add those certifications or qualifications in. But really, I know the biggest reason I will help you, and for Marissa, it's like break out of patterns and cycles and start creating a life you really want, is because, and then another thing about that you that really stands out. So maybe Marissa's going to say, the biggest reason I will help you like break out of these cycles is because I also have practical lived experience of like being in a job I hate and feeling stuck. I'm not just some, like this is again kind of like her polarizing messaging coming back in, but like I'm not just someone who's always had things handed to me, who thinks that you can just change your frequency and have life, hand you whatever you want. Like I actually know what it's like to have to like get up in the morning when you're exhausted and try to make time for yourself when you have a lot on your schedule. And because I have been there and I get it, I'm the right person to help you. So I basically just said the next part of the prompt here, right? But like, tell us a bit more about this thing, what results it creates for your clients. You're not trying to be in convincing energy. You're just talking about like, tell someone without convincing them. They already, again, we're talking to the ready buyer who was ready to buy yesterday, but help them see that like, you're the right person to hire to help them. You've been there, you've done that, you're an expert in this, and they'd be crazy not to hire you because, again, they really want a solution to their problem and you know how to give them the solution. And then we have a call to action at the end. So hopefully the result, once again, is someone would read this caption and think, I need the thing she offers, or like, I need to hire Marissa. Final example, template that you can use to create your own desire posts is the I understand you want this without this template. And again, I really want you to notice the contrast of like these posts, like we're not trying to teach, like not every post needs to educate or inspire. Sometimes, again, we just need to sell. We just need to talk about what we offer. We need to talk about the results someone gets when working with us. And that's exactly how this template starts off. So like you want, and again, Jana's client, like they want like a juicy, energized motherhood. You want to wake up during pregnancy and even after you give birth and feel so grateful to be having entered this chapter of your life. You want to feel like more alive and more in your purpose than you've ever felt before. And you don't want to feel like the exhausted mess that sometimes people depict women have to feel like after they go through pregnancy and birth experiences. So she could say something like this. And then the idea with the template is then you also call it what somebody does not want. So you say like, and just as importantly, I also know you don't want, because again, to attract the right people, you've got to repel the wrong ones. So if you are calling out things that these people don't want to use, some people might be like, oh, well, I kind of like those things. I don't want to hire Jana. But then others are going to be like, oh my gosh, her and I are so like aligned. Like she fully gets me and I need to hire Jana. So maybe again, in Jana's case, she's going to say like, I know you also don't want to like rely on caffeine for your energy or screen time so that you can have quiet time. These things that she knows that her ideal client doesn't want while they're stepping into like this juicy motherhood era. I created the Juicy Mama program just for someone like you. Again, actually talking about our program or our method, or sorry, I could have said the juicy, you know what, I think she has the mindful, I can't keep track of all my clients' methods and program names, just please ignore me. Okay, talk about why your method gets the results listed above. Again, we want to go into the details of like how you help someone with your process, especially like a lot of coaches will be like, they don't care about the process, they just want the result. People are starting to get tired of that bullshit because they're realizing like people have been burned by coaches before who promise one thing and they don't talk about how they get there. So do talk about your method as well. You've talked about like the results somebody's going to get, what they don't have to do, and then talk about how that all happens. Like, what's your program look like? What are you offering them? So again, for Jana, it's like she helps someone build a sacred morning ritual and evening ritual using the ancient medicine of Ayurvedic principles of Kundalini yoga. There's more. Again, she's the expert. And it starts with like adding a 5-minute daily routine. It becomes in the end like a 25-minute routine that like really optimizes your health. There's some teas and herbs involved. It does a huge, huge difference in optimizing your sleep, your hormones. It prepares you for conscious conception. She has other things to help you during pregnancy, right after pregnancy. So she's really a gold mine when it comes to information on this. And she can talk about that here. And then, yeah, you have your call to action. So again, I need the thing she offers. We need these kinds of posts to create sales on Instagram. A few other types of desire posts that you absolutely should share. So client stories, transformations, we briefly touched on this before. These show where somebody started, how you two shifted things together and where they are now. Also, just sharing a direct testimonial, really powerful. Will it be your highest engagement post on your feed? Probably not. But will it make the difference for that person who's like, I think I want to hire them, I'm just not quite sure, or I think I want to buy their thing? Yes, like absolutely. So still share those testimonials and client stories. I actually have more of a template for this inside the worksheet, again, that you can download in the YouTube description. But it's kind of like, when so-and-so hired me, they were already doing a great job with these things, but they were struggling with these things. We made these changes using my signature method, and they created these results, and now they're doing this today. So like showing that your magic and your work, it's effective. It's getting people where they want to go. And then the last kind of desire post I will always recommend is just like literally go back on your Instagram DMs and try to figure out like what's the last thing you signed up for. Like you have probably commented a keyword on something and asked to receive a post, asked to receive a resource and like gave your email or that kind of thing. So like what made you raise your hand and want something? And then try to use that same format to share your own thing that you offer. So these are all ways to create desire posts. So we are on to the last part of the RE8 model, which is the last A, action. And this is the content that is designed to make your target audience think, I am doing this now. Take my credit card, please sign me up. I want this. So the key for action posts is removing hesitation. Anything that's stopping someone from wanting to move forward right now. And hesitation can come from a couple different things. So passive language on our part, not great. We're going to remove that from our posts. I'm going to show you how. Lack of clarity. Sometimes people literally just don't understand, like, what are you offering? Like, what are you actually selling? How do I sign up for it? How am I meant to like go from being someone who's consuming your things on Instagram to working with you? So action posts sometimes are just about making those things really clear, really simple posts that we're sometimes just missing. Also, hesitation can come from objections. So these action posts are going to have some templates to help you handle common objections or fears that your clients have. And then also sometimes just from a lack of urgency, like they think, oh, I'll do it later. So we're also going to address that in this section. So first off, removing passive language. This is not really a post type. This is actually just something you can do across all of your posts. But the big part here is like with the red creator hat, I told you, speak to the ready buyer. So we have this tendency, and I am guilty of this too, for sure, but we'll say like, if you're interested, do this. But the ready buyer, they are interested. Like, again, they were interested yesterday. They have been like waiting for a sign from the universe or from like, they've been wanting to get help with your solution. There are people like that. I guarantee you, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what niche you're in, there's people who want to pay a premium yet fair price to get their problem solved. And they want your personalized help to solve it. And when you energetically tap into that ready buyer and you envision the person who is like so excited to pay you to get the thing you offer, you will call them in. And part of calling them in is also using language like that's speaking to that person. So that was a lot of pre-ramble, but here's like some examples of passive language on the left, and then more like commanding language, like ready buyer language on the right. So instead of just like, if you want to learn more, we could go with something like, DM me your biggest challenge when it comes to topic, and I'll reply with something to support you. Because again, we're assuming they do want to learn more. Of course, they wanted help with this yesterday. So we're going to speak to them as if they do. And then those who don't will just not do it. That's cool too, right? Like not everyone who is in your Instagram world is meant to buy from you. And we're also there to support them with your other free content. So all is well. Okay. You can schedule a free consultation call by using the link in my bio. This is not terrible, but like, think about how much more powerful the option on the right is. Let's set you up for a juicy pregnancy. Click the link in my bio to schedule some time with me, and we'll create a custom plan for balanced hormones, radiant skin, and an easy conception. So that's making me think, holy shit, like she can help me with exactly what I need. I'm going to book that thing. If you're interested in working together, comment empowered. Again, ready buyer, they're ready. We're going to speak to the ready buyer. So we assume they are interested. Drop empowered in the comments, and I'll DM you a link with more info. Slight change, but again, these things make a big difference over time. And then the last one, let me know if you're interested and we can talk about next steps. Instead, something much more direct, speaking to the ready buyer. Sign up now using the link in my bio, or if you have questions, my DMs are open and I'm here to support you. Okay, that's the first part of action. The next part of action, the next thing that can create hesitation can be a lack of clarity. So what I wanted to call out here is like, again, some posts, they should just simply and directly talk about your offer, period. And they might not be your highest engagement posts, and that's okay. Because sometimes you just also have to tell people like, here's what I do. Here's how you sign up. I created like a little mini template here that's like the just explain the offer post. And this might be like my Empowered Lotus offer is a 12-week one-on-one program where you and I do a deep dive into whatever it is to help you achieve why. I'm not going to riff on this one. It includes how many calls with you, how many Reiki healing sessions, does it include a custom journal, does it include WhatsApp support? Just tell people what does it include? If you're to sign up for this, sorry, see how I almost said if you're interested, I'm still working on this mindset myself. To sign up or to learn more, and then give clear, direct instructions. People like to know exactly what's going to go down. So rather than just like DM me, it can actually be really helpful to be like, DM me the word. We'll have a chat to see if this is the right program for you. If it is, I'll send over the payment link and we'll start by doing a 2-hour clarity call where we create your custom plan to achieve X. Like people feel really good when you tell them that whole process because they're like, oh, she's got a plan for me. She knows what's going down. Like, I feel like I'm going to be very cared for and supported in this process because like there's actually a plan for how this whole thing works, and people don't like uncertainty. They like to know what's coming. So this can be really helpful as well. Okay, the next thing that can create hesitation and stop someone from taking action is objections. So I wanted to give you some really cool templates to help you handle objections proactively using your Instagram content. The first, Q&A post. Very simple, very effective. So this could be like a carousel, or you could probably set this up as a reel if you wanted to and have the info in the caption. But it's like the main text is like frequently asked questions about the name of your program. Now, is this going to like stop the scroll? Maybe not. But for someone who is like right there, they've already gone through AID, like you've gotten their attention, you've made them think like they're interested, you've created desire in the program, they've already heard about your program. This could be the last thing they need to see to take action. And basically with Q&A posts, it's a really good place to address common doubts, common hesitations, common fears. So it's not just like frequently asked questions. It's kind of like, here are things that people are normally nervous about or unsure about, and here's how I can help you feel good about it and feel that you're going to be supported if you have these concerns or have had these challenges in the past. Is this the right fit for me if common hesitation? So like a common concern that somebody has. So maybe it's like if I have a busy schedule, and then talk about like why it will still work for them if they have a busy schedule. And then, like I just said, like if it actually won't work for them, if they have a busy schedule, then also tell them. Like people will appreciate your transparency and your honesty. And you might say, like, you need 4 hours a week. Like, for example, my clients who are building a business, like you need to have a decent amount of time a week to make one-on-one mentorship with me make sense. And I will tell people that. And then people appreciate my transparency. So don't use this again to like lie to people or deceive people, but do address the actual common hesitations that shouldn't be hesitations, because they're not going to stop someone from receiving the care and the results they want to with the thing that you are selling. So other examples here, you can screenshot this or you can download the worksheet. A couple other ways to talk about objections are to use these little mini templates I created here. For this first template, you basically can say, I know it feels like, and then talking about their common concern or objection. And we always want to empathize, like show that we understand why they feel that way, but then disprove this fear or help them see things in a different way, from like a loving way that's helping lead someone towards like their highest good. With Marissa, again, she works with women who like are often used to putting others first. So her client might have a little bit of fear of like making a premium investment in themselves. So maybe she wants to say something like, I know there's a part of you that feels it's selfish to make a premium investment in yourself and your well-being. I get it, because I know as women, we're taught for a long time that like we need to put others' needs before ourselves. And, you know, it's selfish just to buy something for you. You should always be like taking care of your family. So she can talk about this a bit. And then she could disprove this fear. So it's like, yes, but actually taking care of yourself and putting yourself first and making this investment in yourself is going to help everyone around you live a better life too. And it's so true. Like she's helping these women clear these patterns, these energetic blocks. They are going to have like a lighter energy. They're going to be more joyful and have much more energy to give to those around them if they first focus on their own energy and their own healing, right? So she can talk about this. She can say like, if you feel selfish because you have kids or something and you don't feel like you should be investing in yourself, this is actually why this investment is going to like be great for your kids, why they're going to benefit when you make a premium investment in yourself. Okay, another example here. So another template. When this is a great way to talk about common objections. When new clients consider working with me, one of their biggest concerns is typically, and then state the objection, I should say, in their own words. This is like, again, super powerful. People already have these hesitations. You're not going to bring it up to their mind because they haven't thought about it yet. Like they already are. And this is a really cool way to help someone understand, like, I feel you. I get why you're nervous about this thing. But here's why you don't have to worry about it. And my program is still going to get you the result you're after. So the big thing for Jana is like people likely worry that they're not going to have enough time to integrate the ritual into their morning. And so she could say that like that's one of their biggest concerns. And she can say like, I understand. And there's like a lot of people who promote these morning routines that are 3 hours. And I understand you likely don't have time for that. I have a daughter myself. I certainly don't always have 3 hours of quiet to get a morning routine done. However, all it really takes is 5 minutes. And like the whole ritual she teaches, I believe, is closer to 25 minutes, but she teaches it in increments so that if you only have 5 minutes one morning, there's still a 5-minute version that you can do. And so she can talk about that to help people see like consistency doesn't mean having to show up for 3 hours every day. It's actually just showing up with whatever capacity you have that day. And that's all you need to be able to receive the transformative benefits of joining her program and being in her care. Creating urgency. This is like the last little part of the action model. We're almost at the end, folks. Okay, so much of us are used to saying like 3 spots left or this many spots left. And if it's actually true that you have 3 spots left and like you're stopping, like you have a cutoff, like you're not running the program anymore at that time, then you could say this. But we don't want to create urgency, like just to create like fear or like scarcity. Like all of us, we want to have an abundant mindset over here, right? So I wanted to show you some more powerful ways to create urgency. And I've got 3 examples for you here. So you can see I was getting a little bit lazy on the slides. These are my final slides. So the first, create like a juicy bonus, or it could be a discount. I actually would prefer you do a bonus or an incentive when people move forward by a certain time. It really helps to have like a time that you have to move forward by in your head. As humans, like we will often just like circle on a decision until it gets to that deadline of like, I've got to do this. Um, I'm sure you have tons of examples from your own life where you haven't completed work like at the earliest convenience. It's like you waited to the last second. A lot of people are like this. So it is quite important to have urgency. Like something's cutting off or something's done and you got to move by this day. It just helps us with the way our brains work to be able to make a decision. And a cool way to do this is just say like, you'll get a bonus call with me, or you're going to get this bonus resource, but like make it good, make it juicy, something someone wants that someone will take seriously and say, okay, I'm going to try to make a decision on the program by that day because I want this incentive. Next, another way to create urgency is just simply to speak to the cost of not moving forward on this right now. So this was an example, like the choice is yours. If you continue as you are now, where will you be 6 months from now? And if you're serious about your progress, DM me this and whatever. This has worked on me before, actually. I joined a program at one point. I was going to wait like 3 months to join it. And then, and it was a really great program I joined. And then the coach basically called out, like, where do you want to be 3 months from now? Like, you're still, if you don't make a change, you're still going to be scattered. You're still not going to have the tools to create the organization you want. She was like a productivity coach. And this was really helpful and powerful for me because I really pictured it. And she really made me lean into like, I don't want to be in the same place in 3 months. I'm going to move on this now. And it works. And then lastly, a simple way to create some urgency is just like talk about people who are already signing up. It creates, again, it speaks to that logical part of our brain that's like, okay, other people are doing this too. Oh my gosh, like I want to get into. It does almost create a little bit of a sense of FOMO, but not in a way that I feel is unethical. So like when you have new clients jumping in, when you have an offer that's like made sales, it can be helpful to say like to celebrate the people who are jumping into your world. Also, I really want to emphasize like to celebrate. Like I hate when coaches like just talk about their clients, like their numbers, and like it's like, oh, I just made this much money today. Like, no, you didn't just make that much money. You like brought someone into your world that's like wanting to make a huge change in their life. And it's super exciting for like reasons beyond just like the pay in full amount that you got in your bank account. So like celebrate the people who are joining your offer or joining or buying the thing that you sell. And that's another cool way to create urgency. So I never created a summary here, but that's pretty much all I have got. I don't know. I had to record this in a few different parts, so I don't know how long this whole training ended up being. I really encourage you to get the worksheet because it really brings everything together. With the AIDA model, you've got the 4 post types: attention, interest, desire, action. And inside the worksheet, it like outlines all the different templates and prompts I just gave you so that you can create these different types of posts. I really hope this was helpful for you. It gave you some mindset shifts. I like to call out this: information without action is just wishful thinking. So I really tried with this training to give you like the actual tangible tools to make these changes on your Instagram feed. And I really hope you'll take action on it. You deserve to be super well compensated for what you do. You should be making full-time income from what you do. And it starts from finding that balance between like artistic expression and soul-led posting to also being like, this is a business and I want some strategy behind the business. And not all of my needs in life need to be met through my business. I can just have some fun and have some creative expression outside the business too. So I hope this has provided a really helpful and like tangible tool that you'll actually use and experiment with at least. And lastly, if you found this training valuable, I would super appreciate and love to hear from you. DM me on Instagram. I'm Light of Ari on there. I would love to know your greatest takeaway. Full disclosure, I also might share some of the takeaways you guys share with me on my story or on my page to encourage others to watch this training. I think it's really value packed, and I'd love to be able to use your words to show others why they will also find this very valuable. And I'd also really appreciate knowing like where could you use more guidance, where could you use more support. I'm always trying to figure out like what content to create, what courses or what offers to create. and like I'm creating them for you. So understanding like the biggest things that are holding you back from achieving your greatest level of success, your next level of income, whatever it is that you're aiming for, I would love to hear that. And if you do share these things with me, as I wrote here, by April 15th, you could win. I'm going to do like a little draw of some sort, a 2-hour content creation session with me. So we will actually get on a call and we will create your polarizing beliefs. If you don't always have those, we'll dig into what those are and then actually create some posts together that will really help drive conversions on your page. I think that should be it, guys. I'm going to see if I can stop sharing. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. I really hope this helps. Keep shining your light, and I'll talk to you later.